Hello friends, my name is Zach, and I'm making a game where you play as a duck with a gun. It's been a bit of a while since I worked on the game last, so let's just load up the code and... what the fuck? After bleaching my eyeballs from that old half-baked code, I thought I'd get straight back into the enemy AI, since it's still in a very sorry state. 50 years ago, when I posted my last devlog video, I'd finish off the AI's brain so it could choose what to do at any given moment. But to really bring it to life, it needs actions to do, like being able to run to new places and peek around corners. I'd say being able to aim at the player is, kind of important, so let's get started on that. I'll be using Unity's IK system to override its animation and sort out where the character's hand should be. It's pretty much magic since I can just give it a position and it just yeets the hand over there. So let's just write out some code to make that aim at the player. Yep, should be pretty simple, right? Wrong, you stupid idiot. Now everything is fucked. Look at this. What are you doing, dude? Just walk normally. Is this guy dabbing on me? Yeah, so it turns out getting all this working is pretty complicated and really boring actually, since it's just like a million tiny things like adjusting animation parameters and checking directions and... So instead I train my AI the old-fashioned way, like they do in the movies, with the training montage. So let's take a look now, and wait, it actually works? Huh. There's definitely still some rough edges to smooth out, but I'm really happy with where it's at for now. After that, I added some little detail things, like they spawn a magazine when they reload now, and I also added this stupid little thing where if you reload before finishing your full magazine, you'll eject a shell, since I'm pretty sure that's what real guns do, and I'm all about that realism. I then thought I'd get started on the run and gun feature that I mentioned last video. I'm not actually sure if I want to include this feature in the final version, but I just wanted to prototype it out and see how it felt. I reckon movement and accuracy is like the most important thing in games that have the shooty fun times. So at the moment, when you aim, your walk speed is reduced a heap, since I think aiming should be a bit of a commitment and make you think about your positioning. But sometimes you gotta go fast. So I want to give the player the best of both worlds with the run and gun feature, where you can still get accurate shots by moving slowly, but you can also trade off that accuracy for speed. It also locks your movement in the direction you're heading, so you can shoot off to your sides while running forward. So this might be handy as a bit of a pro gamer technique, if you want to put down some suppressing fire while running away for a different cover spot, or even as a last-ditch YOLO attack, straight towards the enemy. It all took ages, but in the end, I think it was all worth it. I lied, I hate it. It's a cool idea in theory, but it just doesn't feel very nice to press like 5 buttons at once for such a small action. I don't think it really works in this tiny level, and there's probably going to be a lot more of those. But I'll probably just leave it in for now to see what people think. Now on to the spiciest al dente change I made this week. Last video, old mate Danny left a good question about the limited ammo situation and if you could still kill enemies if you run out of bullets. And wait, fuck, that's a good question. I had to think about this one for a bit, like, kicking enemies would look a bit weird because, you're a duck, but then I came across this animation and ooh. So it brings me great joy to tell you that you can now hit enemies up close by pegging them in the dick. Yup. Instead of dying from having their genitals reduced to soup, they just kind of roll around on the floor. Permanently. Poor guy. So, if you're all about that non-lethal route and want to torture yourself with some insane difficulty, you can just go around pecking nuts. I also received a very serious threat on my last video from an anonymous source stating that if I didn't make 100 bad boys run around looking for cover, I would get a dislike. So of course I had to comply, and whipped up some quick code to spawn 100 of them. It handled surprisingly well, and it's kinda hilarious looking at them all trying to find a place and bumping into each other. It made me very happy, I won't lie. But for some reason, they just didn't care if someone else was in their cover spot, and powered through anyway. Funnily enough, it was actually a pretty good test for finding weird bugs like that, so I've got some new stuff to look into now. I also added some inaccuracy to the enemy's aim, since I thought it'd be pretty boring if they just kinda insta-sniped you from across the map. So I added this cheeky noise offset to where they aim and... Wait, no. Sorry, I meant Perlin noise offset to where they aim, and hey, that's pretty good. I also made the effect scale up by distance, so around 30 meters they pretty much have arthritis, and up close they're all good. Old mate Nicholas suggested adding a quack button, and of course I had to do it. So I made a little animation and added in only the highest quality sound effect I could find. Ah yes, the song of my people. I also varied the pitch randomly so it doesn't get too annoying, but I also made it have a bit of a purpose in the gameplay. So the AI doesn't actually know where you are unless it can see you, so I made Quacking alert them to where you actually are, which now that I think about it is kind of pointless, but it might be cool if you want to scare them from behind for extra style points. Finally, old mate Alan commented last video that he'd made me a pot plant model for some reason. I wasn't planning on having any plants in the game, but you know what? Maybe these mob bad guys just have a real flair for interior decorating and just wanted to spruce up the place, you know? And I just couldn't say no to a free plant, so I chucked the plant in the game. And if we're chucking in plants, well, of course they need to explode into tiny pieces when you shoot them. So I wrote a little script that switches the normal model out for a broken one when you shoot it. Then I whipped up some quick particles that shoot out chunks of pot and dirt. I then mixed some ceramic and dirt sound effects from Freesound to really tie the whole thing together. Yeah, I spent way too long on this, didn't I? So that's it for today. It's really good to be back working on this silly little project, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely consider subscribing, since I'll try to get a video out at least once a month now. And if that's too long to wait for Ducko goodness, you can follow me on Twitter, where I post progress GIFs of new stuff I'm working on. And of course, as always, if you have any feedback or thoughts, I'd love to hear them in a comment below. See ya!